What's up, Packer fans? Back again. Week 1 of training camp is in the books pretty much. Some players, that we expected to do well have been, and other players that we thought might not perform have really showed up. So it's really been exciting to watch. I think the Packers front office, Gutekisk, Matt, have really put together a really talented team. There's competition at all different positions. They brought in guys from the USFL who are making plays, and picked up guys off the streets, free agents. The punter they got from the Bears is really showing why we got him or took him. It's just been super exciting to see. And so now that week 1 is finished, family night is coming up, and that's always fun. It's always fun for fans, obviously, when you go and get to be there. But it's for me, it's just I just like to watch and see what everybody, all these different guys are doing. Make sure that the veterans are really sound and look like they came in shape and ready to go. Not like some guys who come in, overweight or out of shape and all that stuff. We heard all about Leonard Fournette, 260 now down to 245. That's still big for a running back. So that's like Brandon Jacobs status back in the day. So I do like some of the quarterback, where Rodgers throws it in the net. That's pretty amazing just to see him do that by itself. But I mean, watching other guys do it as well, it's just amazing to see that accuracy. But aside from that, I just like to make sure that everybody's kind of on the same page and not a lot of silly mistakes, and doing what they're supposed to, and watching some of these young guys make plays. That's what it's all about. Obviously, it's more of a show for the fans than it is like a real game or even a preseason game. It's a scrimmage between offense and defense. So we'll see how it works out. But I'm so excited to see how it plays out. There's just different guys that have really shown up this year, and I made a 53-man roster prediction before training camp started. I already am starting to see some of the names that I'm probably going to be switching off the list. Luckily for me, I had some of the names next to the guys who I picked as kind of like a holdover in case different positions took different amount of players. I kind of had like Packers taking 7 receivers and 10 offensive linemen. So as we see how guys have progressed and have played, starting to shape up, and we're able to kind of see where the Packers are leaning, especially on the offensive line with guys like Bakhtiari and Jenkins out. It's just going to be kind of thrown together and trying to see what the best 5 are, and that's what they've been doing. And in the last couple of days, they've kind of had it the same as it's been with Yash, Runyon Jr., Myers, Newman, and I meant Hansen and then Newman. So Tom's been coming in and out, but they have Hansen at that right guard and then Newman at right tackle. Tom's been going in and out at left tackle, right tackle, but I think the 5 they like is the one with, like I said, Yash, John Runyon Jr., Myers, Hansen, and Royce Newman. I just don't really like Royce Newman at that right tackle spot. I'll have to see how he does. Obviously, the Packers see more than I have, and they know. I mean, obviously, they know better than I do. But I have to see it from my own eyes. If he shows up on tape, especially family nights when they really try to go at it. I know they do in practice and everything, but it's their first time in front of fans for a lot of these guys, and it'll be interesting to see how they kind of, how they react to it all, how they step up to all the challenges that, playing in front of Packer fans brings. So we'll see. Some notables, Jair Alexander kind of sat out the other day from practice, came back, not that day, the next day kind of just, he was there. But other holdouts were Patrick Taylor, the running back, Cyrus Mitchell, the USFL receiver, 6'5" guy that I actually liked. I thought he had a chance. If he's hurt, there's no way, and that's kind of the issue with these guys who are already on the bubble. If you're not healthy, you don't have enough time to prove anything, and if you're hurt, it just shows that you have injury issues. So for a guy like Mitchell, it's tough, and for a guy like Patrick Taylor, who I actually had on my 53 man, and now that I've heard him, he fumbled once or a few times, I think, and now being hurt too. It's just, he kind of was just that fourth guy last year with Kylan Hill as the third guy, and then when Hill got injured, Taylor moved into the third spot, but he really was like a holdover. So having Taylor having these issues is opening the door for Tyler Goodson, and that's exactly what he's been doing. He looks great. I really, really like the way he catches the ball out of the backfield, the way he's been running, just running as a running back and running routes out of the backfield as well. So he just looks really good. Kylan Hill is still rehabbing, still progressing. So I think a guy like Tyler Goodson, if he keeps making plays, kind of shows up and shows out, I think he's going to be a guy that moves maybe into that third running back spot until Hill comes back from injury. So something to watch for. Another guy who's kind of been doing okay at running back is B.J. Baylor. I don't think he's going to have a chance to make the roster. He's going to have to really be explosive in these preseason games, or just more so in practice as well. But he's 5'11", 200 or so, 210, and he runs like a 4.5 40. So he's pretty quick for a running back at that size. And so, he's a guy that's been making plays in practice, and that's all you can ask for. So we'll see if he ends up doing anything. It's so interesting to just see all these guys. They come from so many different walks of life and facets of the world, and they just come together, and they're all just competing so hard to try to make this team. And the talent that the Packers brought together here, it's so fun to watch, because you got a guy like Eric Stokes last year, who was a rookie that played a lot of snaps, really held his own. You could tell that he had the talent, but you could tell that he was young as well, so it was exciting to watch. And then you bring in a new guy like Romeo Doubs, who's big, strong, athletic, quick, and he went to Nevada, so it's not a huge school, but he played, in some big games, and so you bring him in and put them one-on-one together and just watch them go at it. And I think everybody's seen the video now of Doubs versus Stokes one-on-one, where Romeo kind of shakes him at the line, gets to the right of him, and streaks down the sideline, and a perfect ball from Love, I think, was throwing that one. And so, Stokes was just right on his hip, but just, Doubs had him by like a step or two, right in the breadbasket, and he probably would have been gone. Stokes, I think, caught him at the end. He might have been able to tackle him before he got to the goal line, but still a really, really nice play. You could tell that Doubs beat him fair and square, and it just was really exciting to watch. This Love to Romeo Doubs connection, Jordan Love to Doubs connection, has been really exciting to watch. They've been doing it all through camp so far. I know it's only been a week, but it's a really cool connection to see. Rodgers and Doubs have some connection too as well. You could tell that. I think Rodgers is just going to make anybody better, and Doubs is really good, so it just adds to that layer. But for Love to Doubs, that could be the future, and for them to already have this connection, I really think that that's going to be something exciting to watch. Love's really come into his own. We all know that he came in 3 years ago. We traded up to get him. Rodgers was pissed off that we got him, and the Packers front office didn't tell Rodgers that they were going to get him. So we had just been in the NFC Championship game. We could have used Justin Jefferson maybe, who was available at that spot. There's all these could have beens, but they went with Love because of what they thought, and now Love's going to be the future. It's just how it's going to be. So I'm just excited to see, his progression. He came in during a COVID year. He did not have off season that summer. They didn't have training camp. They didn't have OTAs. They didn't have any of that stuff. I don't think they even had really preseason games. But and then they didn't have fans. It's just a totally different year. All that stuff surrounding the draft and Rodgers being upset and all that stuff. It had to be difficult for a young kid to come in and just feel totally unwanted and all that stuff. So the coaches wanted him there, but it's just, it's kind of like how Favre was when Rodgers was drafted. He said he didn't want to help him learn. It wasn't his job to get him ready and all that stuff. So that's kind of the approach it seemed like Rodgers was taking. But in my mind, it's like if you're the MVP and you're better, then it doesn't matter who they bring in. You're going to win the job anyway. And he went on to win 2 MVPs. So that maybe that worked. Maybe Goody used, reverse psychology and ended up with 2 MVPs. We didn't get the Super. I'd rather have 2 Super Bowls than MVPs, but that's just me. But anyway, so Love came into the first year, didn't have that off-season program, didn't really play. Obviously, doesn't get first-team reps when Rodgers is there, and Rodgers was going on to win the MVP his rookie season, and then the next season after that. So last year was his first off-season, so that's like his rookie off-season, and so this is kind of his second year off-season, and that's when they really say that these quarterbacks make that leap. Joe Burrow got hurt his first year, but Super Bowl in his second year. Justin Herbert, he played well his rookie year, but, last year he really came on, and I think he's going to be in the MVP conversation this year. And just, these quarterbacks are so NFL ready when they get to the league, so, Trey Lance looks like he's going to take over now, and as I've been kind of down about him because I heard about his accuracy issues, I think that he might be something as well. But to me, Love is kind of like a Trey Lance. He's got the big, strong arm. He's 6'4". He's athletic. He's a smart kid. All that stuff. So we traded up for a reason to get him. He was moving up draft boards on all teams, and the Packers had the pieces to get where they needed to get him. And I think being able to sit behind a guy like Rodgers for as long as he has, it's really going to open up, a lot of doors for Love, because that's just a great mentor, a great teacher, a great role model to learn from, and he's already got the talent, so he just has to put the pieces together, and I think he's going to be great after and whenever Rodgers does decide to retire. So I look forward to just watching the growth and development of Love. He just, he flashes here and there. I know against the Chiefs, he'd throw a few that were complete, but a lot of just miscommunication throws. That's all it was just on this different page with the receivers, and he just doesn't have that rapport with them yet. So he was throwing it where he thought they were going to be, and they were running a different route. So that's stuff that's easily clean upable. So, stuff that can be fixed easily. So I just think those are plays that later on in his career are going to be completions, and I really think he can be good in the future. So something to watch for family night. I know it's just one more practice, and I get too amped up about all of it, but I get, it's just exciting to see because, these guys are the future of the Packers, and you just really hope that we have that sustained success, so like we've been having since like 93, 94. So pretty cool. Anyway, more things to look forward to during family night. Jonathan Garvin. He's been, he kind of played the last year a little bit. He's the outside linebacker, one of Rashaan Gary and Preston Smith's backups. But this guy's really been showing up to practice or training camp. He's been explosive off the edge, setting the edge on the runs, getting close to the quarterback, and just wreaking havoc, causing mismatches for the offensive line and causing them fits. So I just want to keep seeing him develop. Obviously, we have Gary and Smith who are the starters, but they need to be spelled. They need to get a breather and need to take a break. So guys like Garvin and Randy Ramsey need to be able to come in and really take over. I like JJ and Agbar, but he's still young and raw. But it just, something to watch for. If these guys can step up and give you a Kyler Facros type season, then that would be huge. You know what I'm saying? So we all know that Kyler had that 10-sack season, and got paid by the Giants because of it. I think he's on IR now, so hopefully he gets back soon. But other notables that I'm really excited to watch for is just how these veterans take over the locker room, take over the field, take over for these young guys, kind of show them the Packer way, kind of show them, that winning is what it's all about. And, that's guys like Kenny Clark, who I expect to have a really big season. He's coming off his best season as a pro last year. He's just so disruptive in the middle. He's a guy that demands double teams, and I just think that Clark's, I guess he's got like Fletcher Cox ahead of him, and obviously Aaron Donald. So he'll probably never hit that All-Pro because it's always going to be Donald. But Clark's right there when it comes to just being an immovable object on that defensive line. I really like just how Clark's progressed, and I look forward to seeing him do that this year as well. Preston Smith and Rashaan Gary, like I just was talking about, those two guys have really stepped up as leaders throughout the locker room. We've all heard about Rashaan recently, about everything he's been doing. At OTAs, he was there when he didn't have to be, the involuntary ones, or the voluntary ones. And then, just recently, with the second string defense, he just got in the middle of those guys and tried to get them amped up. Just showing that he's a leader, showing him what he's all about, what the Packers are all about. So that's what I really like to see. Like I said in the other video, I did not expect to see that out of Rashaan, so it's awesome that he is stepping up to be that guy. Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage, I don't think get enough credit as a tandem safety combo. Amos is, to me, the second best safety in the league to Derwin James of the Chargers, but Darnell Savage would probably be a Pro Bowl safety if he would catch those PBUs that he gets. He is always near the ball, close to the ball, tipping the ball, almost catching the ball, and dropping the ball. So if Savage can clean up some of those balls that should have been picks, he'd have 6, 7, 8 interception seasons, and then he'd be in the conversation for a lot more accolades. So hopefully Savage can put it all together. He's a guy I really like to watch. He came out of Maryland, super fast, kind of, a little undersized, but just very quick, covers a lot of range. Then Amos is just super savvy and is everywhere, hard hitter, enough speed, but just a smart player. So I really like those guys. I want to see how they, take on the rest of the secondary and just make them a really cohesive unit. Make it a no-fly zone. I think we have the talent with Jair, Stokes, Douglas, Savage, and Amos in the back end. Even if you throw Kevin King as that cornerback 4, I know everybody hates him, but he's a good cornerback 4. You got to admit, he's a good cornerback 4. And Devondre Campbell in the middle. I can never say enough about him. All through practice, he's been looking great. Talked about him on pass coverage, dropping back deep on some of those lofty ones from Rodgers, even on, getting back on Love too. And then just being so precise on his run stopping and read and react. He's so good. And I keep saying this, I think he was probably one of the biggest pieces of the offseason. Rodgers probably was one, obviously, but I think he was probably number 2. He's just such a, versatile defensive player. He can, with interceptions, tackling, being able to cover running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers, and just being able to read and react like he does. It's such a great pickup. I liked him when he was on other teams, and I watched him, and I just thought, oh man, that speed on the defense would be so nice. Now the Packers finally have that speed. Jair's like 4'3", Stokes is like 4'3", Savage is 4'3", Quay is 4'5", Devondre is 4'5", and that's starting to get really fast there when you got 2 middle linebackers who run 4'5s, and you got 3 corners 2 corners and a safety that run 4'3". I don't think Rashaan Douglas is not as quick as those guys, but still, to have those guys it's just going to be a really fast, explosive defense. Got Rashaan Gary coming off the edge, and consistent and reliable Preston Smith off the other edge. This defense is going to be fun to watch, and it's going to be super exciting Friday night at Family Night. Anybody who gets to go, just comment out on your experience, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.